It's the rematch between the 1981 Reds and the Negro League's best, the Pittsburgh Crawfords. The World Cup may be on, but don't worry, I won't be distracted. Let's hit that intro video. Kickoff first pitch is just seconds away. Yes, welcome back to the Ducks. I'm Hamish Hamden, and we tell baseball stories. Baseball. Not World Cup. Baseball. Today is a rematch between the Pittsburgh Crawfords and the 1981 Cincinnati Reds. The Crawfords took the first one, but who will win when two teams play twice in the same tournament? Well, if World Cup history is anything to go by, it's hard to win twice against the same team. The Great Hungary team of 1954 famously thrashed West Germany in the first round, only to lose to that same German team in the final. Brazil beat Czechoslovakia. In fact, the only time a team has successfully won twice against the same opponent at a World Cup was in 2002, and once again it involved Brazil, as they went 2-1 and 1-0 over Turkey. We kick things off with Cool Papa Bell hitting a double. Of course, a name like that brings back memories of Cool Papa Diop, who stunned the world scoring the opening goal of the 2002 World Cup as Senegal upset defending champions France. This Papa mimics that by scoring the opener, as Charleston crushes a 110 mph delivery for a sac fly. 1-0 to Pittsburgh. Bottom of the second and Cincinnati fight back. Dreisen leads off with a double, and Concepcion follows that up to put men at the corners. Speaking of corners, who can forget Roger Miller's famous corner flag dance as Cameroon shocked the world in 1990? Rooster singles to tie the game at 1-1, then Ray Knight singles to load the bases. Speaking of night, did you know the first World Cup match to be played at night under floodlights was way back in 1958 in Sweden? Pastore walks in a run to put Cincinnati up 2-1, and of course walking reminds us all of the disgrace of Guion in 1982. Knowing a 1-0 win for West Germany would put both the Germans and their Austrian opponents through to the next round at the expense of Algeria, Germany scored an early goal, which was then followed by 80 minutes of the players lazily walking round the pitch, making no attempt to score. No rules were broken, both teams advanced, Algeria were rightly furious, and Germany would go on to make the final where they lost 3-1, which, coincidentally, is the score in this game as Dave Collins hits a sac fly. Top of the fourth now, and Frank Pastore is settled down after Bell's first innings score. Of course, the fact Pastore could predict the future helped him on the mound as he knew where the players were going to swing. His future-seeing abilities weren't revealed until 2012 when he commented on his radio show that he rode a motorcycle and was aware that at any moment he could be killed riding the 210 freeway. Later that day, he was hit while riding the 210 freeway and would sadly pass away from his injuries just a few weeks later. That's a sad story. So to lighten the mood, do you remember the time Diana Ross sang at the 1994 World Cup opening ceremony, kicked the ball at the net, completely missed the goal, but the goals exploded like she scored anyway? Classic stuff. Okay, where are we now? Bottom of the sixth, and Ernest Carter is trying to turn this into a pitcher's duel. Carter once took a lot of money to go overseas and play a sport in a country that was killing people, but I can't think of a World Cup analogy for that. No, not a thing. Anyway, he gets a double play ball here, and the game remains 3-1. Cool Papa Bell draws a walk in the seventh, and that'll end Pastore's day. Doug Bear comes in, but surrenders a single to Dixon to make it 3-2. He strikes out Oscar, though, to end the threat and preserve the lead. Oscar's been a good performer for his team, but fails to come through here. Kind of like the Oscar who was a stalwart for Brazil at the 1978 and 82 World Cups, but that talented team couldn't get over the final hurdle. Also kind of like the Oscar who played for Brazil at the 2014 World Cup, who did score in the famous 7-1 loss to Germany, but still was part of a team that lost 7-1 in a semi-final. So, Oscars. Decent players who just fail to make it count when it matters most. Let's go to the top of the ninth, where the Crawfords have another chance to tie this one up. Joe Price is in to close it out. Can the Crawfords win this at the death? Like David Platt versus Belgium in 1990, Landon Donovan versus Algeria in 2010, or Dennis Bergkamp scoring arguably the greatest goal in World Cup history against Argentina in 1998. No, they can't. Strikeout, flyout, strikeout. Oh well. Reds get revenge for their opening day loss, anchored by Frank Pastore pitching deep into the 7th and only giving up 2. Carter also had a quality start, but it wasn't enough. The game finished 3-2. Just like Austria vs France, Switzerland vs Netherlands, Sweden v Argentina, Czechoslovakia v Switzerland, Germany vs Austria, all in 1934, Uruguay vs Sweden in 1950, France vs Mexico, and West Germany vs Hungary in 1954, Yugoslavia v France and Paraguay v Scotland in 1958, Brazil v Romania, Peru v Bulgaria, West Germany v England, all 1970, Poland v Argentina in 1974, Scotland vs Netherlands, and that famous goal by Archie Gemmill in 1978, Algeria vs Chile, Italy vs Brazil, and Poland vs France from 1982, Italy v South Korea, and Argentina v West Germany in 1986, England and Cameroon in 1990, Germany v South Korea, Germany v Belgium, Romania v Argentina, what a game that was by the way, utter classic, and Brazil versus the Netherlands in 1994, Nigeria v Spain and Brazil v Denmark in 1998, Spain v South Africa, USA v Portugal, Belgium v Russia and Turkey v South Korea, all from 2002, Cote d'Ivoire and Serbia and Montenegro in 2006, Slovakia v Italy, Netherlands v Uruguay and Germany v Uruguay in 2010, Netherlands v Australia and Argentina v Nigeria from 2014, and finally Belgium versus Japan in 2018. So, over to you, Johnny, to continue this entirely baseball-themed video.
With the Pittsburgh Crawfords falling to 2-2, this game now looms large as our 2-1 squads of the 6 out of 5s and the Diamonds in the Rough battle to be the one to leapfrog them in the standings. The 6 out of 5's Joe Carter has been on fire thus far as he enters play hitting .533 after his 4-for-6 performance in the previous game, but the Diamonds in the Rough have their own pair of hot tamales as Nap Lashaway enters the game hitting .500, and Mike Trout accounting for 4 RBIs for the squad, which is ahead of everyone else in this contest. Let's play the feud. David Price would like to start over. The leadoff man went down easily enough, but Paul Goldschmidt is first pitch swinging, and he hit the Goldschmidt out of it. And 2 batters later, Mike Trout must have had a little bit of privacy in a copy machine that would support his weight, because that is a moonshot. And in the bottom of the second, David's going to have to reduce his price because no one is buying his pitches. Ernie Banks takes him deep for a solo shot and his second home run of the tournament. And I think they should have burnt a mound visit here and just gave David a hug because he seems to be having a bad day now. He could have escaped right here. His opposite number is up in Robin Roberts and there's no one to blame but himself, as that's an E1. Price does not forgive himself and he walks Luke Appling. He walks Paul Goldschmidt to load the bases. And up walks Nap Lashaway. He died long before the Me Too era because he is going to touch them all. That is a grand slam. It's 7-0 Diamonds in the Rough, and that will be David Price's day. Catfish Hunter is able to get them out of the second in relief, but not the third. After Harmon Killebrew led off the inning with a single, Joe Mauer goes for 2 more. Bottom of the 4th, and well, you know what the problem is? He's a catfish hunter, no experience with Trout. That's right, Mike Trout gets his second home run of the game and his third of the tourney. That's gonna up his stock. Man's got $2.5 million in endorsement deals on top of everything else. He's a partner and investor in Body Armor's Super Drink. He endorses Super Pretzel. Nike has a Mike Trout shoe, which they don't name here, but I can only assume is called Super Shoe. He's the face of Topps digital card collection, which sounds an awful lot like, yeah, crap, it's NFTs. I mean, I don't begrudge anyone for doing what they love, but for me, I don't know. I just want something that's a little bit more tangible. Let's see what else we have on the list. He's been in materials that supports the spaying and neutering of pit bulls. Back to the game. And I think Catfish is beginning to consider lacing his beer with arsenic after the game, because the very next batter in Killebrew goes deep as well. When the 4th inning is all said and done, the 6 out of 5s find themselves down 2 touchdowns at 14-0. In a league where run differential matters, that's just crushing. And surprisingly enough, that's enough to get it done. The 6 out of 5s pull back 4 runs on home runs from Joe Carter and Alfonso Soriano, but much like an NFT, they end up being utterly fucking useless in the end. The Diamonds in the Rough hit 7 home runs today. When Catfish Hunter was a senior in high school, he was shot in the foot by one of his brothers, resulting in the loss of one of his toes. After today, that's only the second most painful shot in the foot that he's received, as he gave up 5 earned runs in 1 1/3. David Price is also no stranger to shooting himself in the foot. He only gave up 3 earned runs, but 7 runs overall, helped along by the error he committed. Let's take a look at what this does to the standings. Diamonds in the Rough are now in an incredibly strong position as they run their run differential up to +20. while the 6 out of 5s fall from their top spot after Game 3 all the way out of the playoff picture and into the negative for their run differential. That monumental fall allows the Pittsburgh Crawfords to sneak into the second playoff spot with the slightly better run differential. In our next video, we return to Group B and see the 2-1 Tucson Tucsoons visit the 1-2 Montreal Expos. J.R. Richard takes the mound for the Tucsoons while Butch Henry goes for the Expos. Important one there as the Expos look to draw even in the standings. Our second game features John Sullivan of the winless Black Sox visiting the undefeated Club Snub and David Cohn. I'd say something here to add suspense and try to get people to return for the next video, but it's a situation that looks pretty ripe for a Black Sox ass kicking. If you enjoy what we're doing here, a like on the video, a subscription to the channel, and comments would go a long way to making sure the Doug's becomes a thing. Up next on the Doug Sports Network, it's Senior Division Full Contact Pickleball. What's the secret to getting them to agree to play in this variation? Well, we didn't tell them yet. Should be a fun surprise. We'll see you next time. For Hamish, I'm Johnny Paprika, hoping all of your balls are fair and all of your wood is good. Good night, everybody!